welcome everyone to our commentary of Friday the 13th, 2009. Just for the pre
Yep.
recorded, one more time, here it is. We are going to watch the stupendous remake. Robert, sir, are you ready?
Nah, I'm ready to watch this
In
killer cut.
3, 2, 1, play. And I think it's been a minute since I've watched this. I don't have this one digitally, so I don't watch this a lot because I don't like to have to pull it off the shelf, but
New Line Cinema and Paramount Pictures presents.
and it is strange if you're doing all the new lines, why you started with this one and then are going back to Jason Goes to Hell.
That is an excellent question. I thought you were going to ask why we remade this before we remade Nightmare.
Nah, because there was no order to any of these remakes from Platinum Dunes. They went
That's
from
true.
Texas Chainsaw to the Amityville Horror to the Hitcher.
I do like these red production logos up front.
I would like that more for Freddy. I would think with
Yeah.
Jason, you'd want to go blue or white, water or something.
The red, the blood, I get it. I don't like the typewriter font.
That
Opening
feels like
credits.
from their Texas Chainsaw Mask remake. And they're just like,
Maybe. Hey, at least this movie got the date right. It's June 13th, 1980. Yes, I'm looking at you, Friday the 13th, Part 4, that says
Look,
Pamela died in 79.
how hung
That's
up you are
incorrect.
on this. And this is the only Platinum Dunes movie to get the 4K treatment.
Well,
And I
start
think
somewhere.
probably the one that's remembered the most fondly, Texas Chainsaw probably is up there.
This or Texas Chains. The difference is Texas Chainsaw was a big hit initially. Of course, critics weren't too impressed, and purists of the original certainly weren't impressed. But like that was a big commercial hit. Like that kickstarted this whole
Okay,
fucking
so
thing.
Robert, I have to ask you this because this does open up a can of worms.
Yes.
Is this immediately the next summer after he drowned originally, or is there supposed to be a time gap like there is in the original?
I think the former, which would make more sense.
And that's what I would say because I like the idea that he was there and he actually did witness it. Because that is something that is only speculated on in the original. Because we don't
Yes.
care, we're not going to deal with it.
Well, this opening, it's both a truncated version of the first movie, where of course you have Alice here decapitating Mrs. Voorhees, but it also feels tonally more like the opening of the first movie when Pamela commits her first kills.
I do wish it was a little like less choppy.
Right. I like the black and white's cool, but I do wish this was a proper scene. I do wish this was a little longer.
Because you could honestly shave some of that like 20-minute cold opening to make room for some of
Right.
this.
But and it's funny because I guess you'd call it a prologue or a tease or whatever, but then our actual cold opening will be 20 minutes, which you know what I kind of respect them for.
Okay, so
Because
that's an
that's
idea I
funny.
forgot about that I do like. Because obviously at this point, everything about Jason is the stuff that you know. So even though he didn't really carry a machete around with him, now he does. Now he has to get the hockey mask quickly. I like that it's the machete that she cut his head, her Pamela Voorhees' head off with.
Yes. Earlier when I pitched how I'd reboot the first movie or how I'd remake the first movie, is I would get to the third act where Alice kills Pamela with the machete, and then I'd do the jump scare surprise with Jason, where then Jason kills Alice with the machete. And that's your ending. So the Pamela dies and then Alice dies, and oh my god, Jason, and then that leads you into the sequel. Just take all those ideas from the sequels and just mush them together. But
I
then
understand how you could
now we
hate
have,
this movie when it's like, oh, like it's not even subtle about how terrible these people are.
well, that is, to be fair, the trend of the 2000 slashers, where it's like, well, the characters are supposed to be awful because you want them to die. you don't see that a lot in the 80s. There are
I'd
exceptions,
argue
but
there's always at least one in every
there's
80s
always at least
slasher.
one. As much as I like this movie, I don't need most of the characters to be like that. I could use a couple
I'd
more
argue that when
likable
you get to
people.
the main cast, most of them are likable. Really, it's just Travis that's the
It's just,
awful person.
was it Travis or Trent? Now I'm
Maybe it's
second guessing
Trent.
myself.
I
I
think the actor's name is Travis.
Okay, maybe because he's also in Transformers playing the same character.
Same character, but not as memorable because that movie
No,
sucks.
oh, well, what matters is that franchise is canon to this, and I think that's great.
I
Jason
love
versus
how
Optimus Prime. Let's do it.
I I love how Friday the 13th this is. They're not on vacation or like here to take care of kids. They're here to find weed.
Yeah, that feels like a good modern update.
Well, no,
Hey,
because I was
John,
thinking about this because I pulled up a review of the 4K just to see how like the picture quality was, and picture quality, audio, and special features all got 4.5 stars. Story 1.5.
you,
Mm,
you know what we're getting here. Come on.
this is the
Hey,
12th
John.
movie.
John, do you remember that really old movie, The Empire Strikes Back? The
No.
one with the walking thingies?
Okay, so I hate this line where he says Heineken, no fuck that Euroship Pabst Blue Ribbon. That is ripped verbatim from Blue Velvet.
Of course it is.
Because I
I forgot
and
about that.
I in the theater I was like, wait a minute, that's the Blue Velvet line. Because Dennis Hopper's character in the movie, I don't know if you've seen it, asks the main character, what do you drink? And he's like, Heineken. And Dennis Hopper explodes, Heineken, fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. And they just stole it for this movie.
Yeah. That would work better if I believe that this character has seen Blue Velvet and was just quoting that movie, but I don't get that vibe at all. I have seen
And
Blue Velvet, by the way, but it's been a long time.
I think
I need to
somebody
revisit
behind
it.
the scenes has seen Blue Velvet.
Yep. What I do really like about this scene is this is our homage to the campfire scene in part 2,
Yeah.
where we're doing some recap. We're talking about and that's the part of the conflict of interest. It's either cut that flashback entirely and get all that backstory here and make this scene longer, or make the black and white flashback longer. The balance here is a little wonky. I don't hate it. It's just an observation. Because spoiler alert, we're not in the real movie yet. We're still in prologue territory, and we'll be here for a while.
Well, and what's annoying too, and I have a problem with this throughout the whole movie, is you never get a great look at Jason. You get some better shots when he has the mask. I have no idea what that looks like. They're almost ashamed to show it, but they have to
Oh,
do it because it's part of the lore.
yeah, I never had that strong of a feeling. I think we see enough of him by the last third. And to be fair,
Hello, Jareth.
oh hey Jareth, how's it going? If you go back to some of the earlier movies, like 2 or 3, like yeah, you hardly see Jason for like the first half of those movies.
No,
Um,
but he also doesn't get a wardrobe change 20 minutes in. Like I want to see
I
the
mean,
bag design.
that's fair. I'll give you that. We only get a couple glimpses at it. But in the case of part 3, I mean, he doesn't get the hockey mask until over halfway through. And
No,
that's when
but
we
then when he
start
does, you
pulling
get a
money.
big money shot of him in the mask. And this
Mhm.
movie gives you more money shots when he has the mask. It almost feels like ashamed to show you the bag.
Yeah, it definitely threw some people off at the time. Like, why does he have a bag on his head? But that's part 2.
That
We're
should be
ripping
the
on
new
part 2.
like, oh, did you know this? Because I do think
Right.
it has fallen through the cracks a little bit.
And I don't mind Baghead Jason in part 2. I think he's fun. The hockey mask is obviously better. He is a lot cooler in the game when it's Kane Hodder's build
Yeah.
with the Baghead.
No, he's
He's a
just
lot
kind
more
of
threatening.
bumbling in part two because we haven't figured out who Jason is yet.
Yeah, exactly.
this stuff is funny. I think this is funny. Where he's just like constantly talking and doesn't understand that these two are basically fucking around him.
And right off the bat, um, yeah, we get our first boobs in this movie.
So let me ask you this, because I think you could make an argument that while this is a blend of the first four, in some ways you could argue it's a pale imitation. Do you think this works as an imitation of what made those movies successful? Or is it like, yeah, this is fun, but if you want the real experience, go watch those old films?
Yes and no. It's certainly because I think I actually do like this movie more than you do. It is missing some of the charm and the quirky quality that makes those movies stand out that I am kind of missing here. But as a horror movie, I think it does capture
Look
most
on
of what
that
you're
guy's
looking
face when he turns around. Whoa, Jareth with the hot take. He says, I prefer the baghead over hockey mask. You do you, my guy.
I
There's a
do
reason that hockey mask is iconic.
yeah, speaking of which, I'll go ahead and show it off. I do have the Part 4 Jason figure, which is one of my favorite Jasons. He's got the hockey mask. He's great, but there is a remake figure I kind of want that comes with the bag head. That
Cool.
if I get the remake figure, I'll probably have it with the bag head displayed. I do need the Part 7 because that is the
That
best
is the
looking
best.
Jason. My friend has that figure, and I'm so jealous. He
Cool.
also has Roy from
That
Part
is
5.
probably my third favorite Jason design. That's a ranking video we got to do at some point.
Well, this is just the Part 3 one, but he's got the axe mark in his head. He's a little
Yeah.
dirtier. It's
No,
pretty
I like the
quintessential
part four
Jason.
a lot. Part seven is the best. I won't hear otherwise. And then
Yep.
we've talked about it. I hate that movie, but I'm quite fond of the part 9 Jason design for the like 5 minutes and it's in that movie.
He looks really awesome. And I do like Jason's look in this one. I get what you're saying. He's in the dark a lot. And the baghead, yeah, would have been nice to get a better look at it. That's fair. But like I do think his jacket's pretty cool. He looks a lot like the
I
Freddy
like
versus
the
Jason
final
because
Jason
that has the
design.
jacket.
I like the final Jason design, like what we're using for our background on the stream. If you can see it, I like that one a
Mhm.
lot. It's just it don't some in some shots in this opening, it feels like we're cutting away around him so that you don't have to look at the back too much. It's like,
Right.
don't
And
worry, he's gonna get to the hockey mask.
yeah. I think it would be better if we were doing more POV shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
That
should
would be
go all the
cool
way. Make him more of a boogeyman where we just don't see him.
for this opening.
Because we just got our first jump scare where it's like, he's standing there. Which is a lot like a Leatherface gag.
And we do have to talk about this. Jason is brutal. One of the kills that's
Yeah,
gonna
he
come up
is.
here in a moment is like, holy shit.
It's awesome. And I like the setup with the locket we got in the opening. I like the payoff to that. We get a little bit of Ginny from
I
part
have
2.
I have one problem with this opening, and it's the first time I watched this, I didn't realize when you get to the end of the movie that that was her. I was like, wait a minute, who the hell is this?
That's fair. I've never had that issue.
It doesn't
I
ruin the
like
movie
the
or
final
anything. It's
girl
just,
misdirect.
yeah,
Well, and it's a new layer to Jason's character that I do buy. Much as some Friday fans hated this at the time, like that's not my Jason. My Jason doesn't run. All that stuff. Like Jason finding a girl who looks like his mom and keeping her as like a pet because she reminds him of his mom. That tracks for me. I like that.
I'm
I
fine
think
with
it's kind
that
of fun
for the.
idea.
Yeah, I've come around to it with age. Like I've definitely liked this movie a lot more as I've gotten older. I like that
Mhm.
for an alive Jason. If you did that with zombie Jason, I'd be like, what are we doing?
That's fair. And whatever your thoughts are on this movie, I am really sad that this never got a sequel. Because Derek Mears
Yeah,
is great. You could have just made just a balls to the
this
wall
is
sequel. Like, yep, Jason just doing Jason shit.
so. You said you like this more than me, and you might, but I will say right now, just off the top of my head, I don't remember where I have it on my official ranking. I like this better than 1, 3, 5, maybe 8. Even though I like 8 more than you do.
Mhm.
Jared says, I got to see the cast of this movie last year at Spooky Empire. They all seem really nice.
That's cool. I hope they're proud of this movie.
Oh, and you know what, Robert? I was thinking about this. I don't remember if I messaged you. We forgot to put the stand on our ranking of the He Made Me watches. Forgot to do
Yeah.
that after 6 hours. I'm probably gonna have to redo my ranking of some of these because I keep feeling like I put the Blob too low, but at the same time I didn't. I don't know. The Blob is peak.
Yeah, as far as the remakes go, I think the Blob's still at the top for me. I like some of the visual storytelling here. I like finding Jason's old name carved on his little bed. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
these two are fucking.
Fuck it, let him watch. I just want to get laid.
And that's the thing. There are some characters like this sprinkled throughout those older movies.
That's one of the casualties when you're taking four films and crunching them into one.
Right? Like, this movie, it doesn't have a Tommy Jarvis, but I also don't
Oh,
think
I
it
don't
needs
agree
to
with
have one. Like,
that.
that's what you do in a sequel.
I think Clay is their Tommy Jarvis.
Um, I think he could have become that if we brought him back in a sequel. Because Clay is their Rob from part 4, the guy looking for his or wanting to avenge his
Yeah,
sister. Jerry's a guy
he's
looking for
got some Tommy in him, I think.
That's fair. I give you. Okay, the problem with Tommy though is he's a completely different character in each
Yeah.
movie. So you're only talking about part 6 Tommy, which
Yeah, he
is fair.
reminds me of part 6 Tommy, is what I
That's
should
fair.
say. Slasher Fred, even though the 2009 movie is a remake of the original movie, it is also a remake of the sequel. Yeah, we were just talking about
Sure.
It's the first 4 movies just put in a blender.
Well, and I
The
remember
only thing of note from the third movie is him getting the masks. That's all that's in here in part 3.
that's it. Well, and yeah, I remember seeing reviews of this movie where a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's just the first 3." And once I actually watched these for myself, I'm like, "No, there's some 4 in here." Like the
Yeah.
guy with the sister. Like, what are you talking about?
No,
You know, this
arguably, when you get to the main bit of the movie, the friends on vacation at the camp or at the lake house, that's all 4.
that's very 4. Um, it would be. I think it would be better if our first glimpse of Jason was this shadow shot we're gonna get of him outside the tent. Maybe this is where we first should have gotten a glimpse at him because this shot is awesome. Coming up.
There is a shot coming up that's probably the best glimpse you get at Baghead Jason, where that guy's backing away, or where the final girl is backing away and he just like rushes at her.
Yes, and
So
that
good.
part's great. Um, Jareth said that his main problem with this movie is that there's no camp setting. You get a little bit of it, and to be
Fine, because we
fair,
also get away from that really quickly in those original movies.
we do. That's the first, but by 3, it's just teens hanging out
Yeah,
at a
because
bar.
think about it this way, Jareth. Not to argue with you specifically, just because you brought it up. The first 2 are about camp. We don't go back to a camp setting until part 6.
Right. And even then, we don't even do a lot with the camp setting, like, having kids there until part
Until
6.
6.
And there he is.
That's a great shot. But yeah, see what I mean? That is, I think it's the shaky cam. I can't
That's fair.
see what's happening. Slasher, the original movie was basically a murder mystery where you had these characters in isolated places, basically retelling.
That's definitely true. Or it would inspired it. The problem is it's a who done it where you don't set up the
who done it?
This scene I love. The guy in the bear trap and her. This is one of my favorite riffs on the sleeping bag kill. This is so violent and fucked
So
up.
brutal.
I love this scene.
And the fact that he makes the other guy
Great.
watch. No,
Yeah.
this Jason's
Th-
got a little bit of sadism in him.
yeah. And again, a lot of fans didn't jive with this at the time. They're like, "Oh, the Friday the 13th movies, they're supposed to be fun and corny." And that's remembered now, but when the first movie came out, like they were trying to make as shocking and as dark a movie as
Yeah.
possible.
This capture this is a perfect blend of what that first movie is trying to be and what the
Yes,
franchise became.
I
Jared
think
says,
so.
I agree with all that. I just wish there was more camp in all the movies. Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
fair.
I guess.
If we got a sequel
There's
to this
12 of
movie,
them. At some point, you have to stop with the camp.
because he's in space.
Or in New York. I mean,
If
Vancouver.
right, if we got a sequel to this movie, I wish we did like a winter camp setting. I have always wanted to see a winter camp or a winter
That's what I
Jason
really
movie.
liked about that Jason sleeps in the or hikes in the snow or whatever the fuck
Never
it's
hike in
called.
the snow. That's good short. That's good fan film.
And to be fair, Jared, I mean, there is a camp here. It's just you're kind of in the
Not in
remnants of it.
operation. Yeah. I love this gag with
Remember the
Pamela's
head?
head. Yep, a little reference to part two.
Yeah.
And this is also a great scene when the machete starts coming up through the floorboards, cutting this guy up. Like this is awesome.
Now, Robert, what is this guy's name?
Mike, I
Oh,
think, because I read the subtitles.
oh.
Because that's her boyfriend.
But Robert, isn't it unrealistic that a kid that grew up in the woods would be this strong?
Eh, he works out. He has to do something in his spare
Robert, I
time.
watch cinema sins. I know how to critique movies.
I This sets up Jason's tunnel system he's got going on, where he's like underground and he's just
Yeah, I love
stabbing
the.
his feet.
I hated it at the time, but I kind of grown to love how insane that tunneling system is. How did that get
I love
set up? How did he booby trap all of it? I don't care.
He's had a lot of time on his hands. And I love that Jason using traps, like the bear traps and stuff, that makes its way into the video game. That is
Yeah.
an idea they pulled from this.
Remake Jason kind of feels like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs when he
Oh,
kidnaps the guy's sister and holds her hostage.
I can see that. The difference is,
Loosely.
the difference is, Buffalo's gonna kill that girl and skin her. Jason, just wants a pet. He
He
wants
just
a
wants his
friend because
mom.
she looks like his mom. Jason is more pure of soul than Buffalo Bill is, in my opinion.
For all the
Even though this is really
sadism.
violent and fucked up. Aside from what we're watching on screen.
Okay, I take it back. That was a really good look at back.
Yeah. No, you get it. They're just brief. We just don't hold on it long.
I don't mind it.
No, I think it's a cool take
I
on the
like
bad
that.
guy.
I like that he has the same outfit all the way through. Just he changes the head. It would have been cool if it was more like the burlap sack in the original, but I'm sure that would have been a nightmare to film around.
Yeah. Well, and also part of why they got away from the burlap sack in the original in the first place is it's just the look from the movie The Town That Shredded Sundown.
Yeah,
Like it's just that look. And
that is
by
a
part three, they're like, we gotta do something
surprisingly.
different.
That's a really interesting film.
Oh yeah. And
I
oh
kind of want to
god.
see the Blumhouse movie remake slash sequel.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Um, this would totally be self-indulgent. At some point, I want us to rank all the sleeping bag kills in this franchise because there's like 4 or 5. This one I thought was awesome. This is one of my favorites. It's just so
It's probably
creative.
my. It's probably my third favorite. You can't beat the original, and then I'm sorry, but the one in Jason X is just too stupid.
It's great.
That's a
Yeah,
that is a great way to cut to credits.
that's a great. I just wish the title
The
card
most
itself was more
generic title
interesting.
card.
Yeah, like you need the
The Freddy
breaking
versus
glass or
Jason one
something.
is so good too, where it's like skin and then it carves apart, like new metal starts blaring. It's so
Yeah.
2003, but I don't care.
I love how we're over 20 minutes into this movie and now the actual movie's starting. It's great.
Yeah, and there's Robert's favorite character.
Right. I mean, he has his moments. Or Chewie getting stuck in the back of the van. I know what that's like. I'm gonna fact check that. I'm like, I think his name's Chewie. Yeah, he's credited as Chewie Wong. Is that a nickname? Is that his real name? I don't know. That's just what he's credited as.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about not Owen Wilson?
He is the one that is there. I
Yes.
don't
Well, you
like
gotta
him.
have
I
one.
don't hate him. He just exists.
Yeah, and I want to complain and say that Chewie's probably like too horny, but a lot of the characters, he's the Crispin Glover of this movie.
The one thing I will say this movie succeeds at is when Danielle Panabaker dies eventually, I'm gonna feel real bad about it for a second.
It's shocking. That's a
Although
good
it is
surprise.
kind of funny. She gives no shits and just immediately moves on to Jared Padalecki. She's like, "Oh, this guy's not a complete douchebag. That's a step up." I
Yeah,
don't buy what she. I don't know what she sees in him. You know.
that's part of the problem. That's a trend that was really popular this time that I'm glad we're getting past, where you have like protagonist lady and you're doing like a love triangle thing, but of course the person she's with has to be like the most evil, horrible, awful person. It's like, then why should I like her if that's who she's dating?
I also love how
Doesn't bother me in this movie.
immediately this guy's like, "I'm gonna pick a fight with this guy."
Oh, he feels the competition. It's Jared Padalecki. He's like, oh no.
You know, and you get a little sarcasm. Obviously, I'm the one being a dick.
Yeah. No, so we recently did our commentary on the My Bloody Valentine remake with Jensen Ackles, and of course here we get Jared Padalecki from Supernatural, both the same year,
Yeah,
coincidentally.
I like this one a little bit more. At the end of the day, spoilers, but I think Jarrett Jensen is the better actor of the two.
Interesting. It's hard for me to compare just because I haven't seen them in a whole lot outside of this. Of course, I have seen Jensen in The Boys, which he's fantastic in, and of course,
I
voicing
think
Red Hood.
Jensen is
But
just more varied. Like he has a bigger range.
right,
Jared Padalecki
yeah,
has one thing that he does really well.
that's probably fair. And also, like, if we're just comparing these two movies, like, these are very different performances, acting different things, asking for different things from these actors.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to do some Supernatural at some point.
For show. That's true, Slash for Fred. In both the original Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, the killers are motivated by revenge, really. Freddy wants revenge for the vigilantes who executed him, and Pamela wants revenge for her
Those
son
are
drowning,
and
which
those
is
are
true.
both ideas that I still think should be fleshed out in another movie.
Yep. They both just take it a little too far. And then
Hey, Freddy
Freddy.
was innocent.
Everywhere
Maybe.
there's an Elm Street. What?
Hey,
we,
listen.
we run out of excuses in later scenes.
Listen. Part 6 is half of a masterpiece. It could have been the Jason X of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, but it runs out of steam halfway through.
If you say so.
No, I love that every town has an Elm Street. What?
But no, I've always said Jason, he's a bit what I like about Jason, except for part 8, because that would fuck shit up. It's I like the territorial aspect of the character where it's like, just leave him alone. Just don't
Yeah.
go there. He'll be fine.
This remake touches on that too, because you have that one lady who's like,
Yes.
"We don't bother him; he doesn't bother us."
Yep. I like that folk legend aspect where like there are people who know about Jason and or have their suspicions. That's great.
Well, and I like that too, and then I like, especially when you get into those later sequels where he's kind of an undead thing that just cannot die. Is he is a spirit of vengeance at you for the bullied and the mistreated.
Well, and part of the fun of these movies, which some people just can't relate to because they find them gratuitous and mean spirited and cynical when too dark and whatever. Rich Evans from Red Letter Media said he likes Jason because Jason's the Hulk. It's just rage and
Yeah.
power, and there is a degree of escapism there that can kind of be fun to watch.
Well, and it's funny too that you mention it now because they did that Halloween or that John Carpenter ranking. He and I kind of have the same opinion of Halloween, the first one.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really like it's a well-made movie. It's not fun. It doesn't have the fun of like the Friday films.
No, it's about the suspense.
Yeah, Michael is the boogeyman, but Jason is he is anger. He's the Hulk. He's vengeance.
Freddy died by fire. Jason died by water. How can we use
Oh
that?
god, that whole scene should have been cut.
That movie is so interesting in terms of the editing of it because they cut a lot out, they changed a lot, but I mean, it's still a fun, watchable movie.
Yeah.
It's also
It
kind of a mess, but
it is
so
exactly what you want during specific scenes.
yes, and it should have been Kane Hodder. That still
It should
sucks.
have been.
He's the best Jason. He earned it. That would have been the perfect send off for him as
Yeah.
Jason. Because that was Robert Englund's send off as Freddy, and that's
Yeah,
fun.
we'll never get to see that.
Yeah. Jareth said that Jensen does a great Batman voice. I like his Batman voice. It's not my favorite, but I think he's good.
I didn't get to see him in enough before we started just doing Justice League stuff.
Yeah. And now that universe
Although
is over,
he does have my
I know what you're gonna
favorite
say.
Batman line. I should have sent you back to the orphanage. Or
No,
no.
I'm glad I sent you.
Yeah, I'm glad I dropped your counterpart off at the orphanage. Jesus Christ.
Good God. Yeah, and I mentioned earlier one thing that this movie, the charm that is missing is I could use more quirky characters. You get a little bit of that with like this lady and of course Chewie. But that's why 4 is still my favorite because you get Corey Feldman, you get Crispin Glover, you get really fun kind of more eccentric characters without losing the horror. At the end of the day, like it is a scary
The
movie with
trailer
humor.
line, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Listening. Have you seen Whitney?
I've never had this before. Have you seen the '03 Texas Chainsaw?
Yeah,
I
that's on our list.
This has that same vibe, right? Like they're trying to recapture that. And I think it's because it's the
Yes.
same director.
Yes, I was going to mention that. Marcus Nispel.
He's
First
clearly
film
trying
was
to
the Texas
capture
remake.
that same energy that he got with that, and I think
Well,
it
and
works
after
better here.
interesting, because I do like that Texas Chainsaw remake. I really do. Um, I do. For me, this is just a more rewatchable movie, but that's just a taste thing.
I like his remake of Texas Chainsaw, but the problem that I do have with that is it does kind of just become a slasher film.
Hmm.
It focuses a lot more on Leatherface. They kind of, from what I remember, it's been a long time since I've watched that. They make
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
they make Leatherface kind of just a slasher villain. They downplay the
you do
family.
lose a lot of his personality for sure.
He It just kind of feels like Marcus Nispel wants to make a Friday the 13th movie. But don't worry, his next movie was the Conan remake, and I'm sure that went well.
Yep, I was gonna mention that. Conan the Barbarian with Jason Momoa, who I
Was
mean
good
that could have been good
casting.
casting, yeah. But it
I,
was also 2011. Like that was probably too early in his career. I don't know. Yeah, that was a big
Probably.
ol' misfire. But one thing I want to talk about with this movie though is this was so the Texas Chainsaw remake, huge hit that launches all these fucking remakes from Platinum
Platinum
Dunes and
Dunes.
other studio that starts this whole thing. This remake didn't do badly at the box office. Like it made money. It just didn't make as much money as they were expecting. It made like 90 million or something. Uh,
So this made
wh-
92 million on a $19 million budget.
which is a profit, just not what they were looking for, and also kind of the beginning of the end of this era because
No, because
everybody
they
hated it.
immediately the next movie kills it.
Right, which is funny because, well, this was the same year as My Bloody Valentine, the remake, which actually made more money than this, but also Nightmare on Elm Street in 2010. That made more money than this. That made over $100 million. It was just so hated by critics and fans that it really tipped the scales.
You know. Well, because then immediately they move into like the Purge movies and the Ouija movies,
And The Conjuring is a big franchise that takes
but that's
over.
not them.
Right. I mean,
I'm just talking about Platinum Dune specifically.
right. Yeah.
But no, it is a shame because I think this might be my favorite of the Platinum Dunes era.
It ranks pretty high for me too. I like this movie. Like, and for a movie that was so hated initially, I think more than any of the others kind of got reclaimed by fans over time, specifically Friday the 13th fans who are like, yeah, no, it's a Jason movie. Like, this is what we come to these for. It gets most of it right.
I think it's
And
that thing where because the last few movies, was Jason X, Freddy versus Jason. This is very back to basics. A lot of the fans were still in that mood for the
Zombie
supernatural
Jason.
out there, and then we've been starved of Jason content. So you go back and like, oh yeah, so they made a Jason movie. Where
He's
they
in the
save
woods.
for their Nightmare remake. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, and here you get a lot of gore, you get a lot of boobs. What do you watch these movies for?
I will say, if there's one thing that they probably fucked up on, is I think the budget for this movie is too high. I don't know why this cost $19 million.
I don't know either. Costs less than the Nightmare remake did.
Yeah, but
Which,
the Nightmare
I think
remake is
that
also a
might be
lot more
concerning.
CGI. But like
Oh
looking at
yeah,
this
it is.
compared to Texas Chainsaw is only a $9 million movie. That's why it
Yeah,
made so damn
like that.
much.
This didn't need to cost more than $10 million. But I also don't care. I
Yeah,
still enjoy the movie fine.
yeah.
So, and another thing that hurt this movie at the time that I think's aged it better is I feel like a lot of the discourse around this movie when it comes out is like, oh great, another remake of a classic. The original Friday the 13th movie was so much better. That was just kind of the accepted
Default. Yeah,
narrative for a while. And it took fans more years after that to be like, the first one's not that great.
yeah, and I think it also doesn't help. We're 6 years into this just onslaught. Texas Chainsaw, the Amityville Horror, The Hitcher, Halloween, even though that wasn't Platinum Dunes. We're tired.
Right. It just
Uh,
it came kind of late. Definitely a
we've
factor.
got Slasher Fred in the opening of the '09 remake. We get a flashback of Pamela's death. We get a reveal of Jason witnessing it, which was mentioned by Paul in the original part 2. Yep.
Yeah,
Jareth has
that's true.
always
And
liked
Jenny.
this movie. Sure, you have, Jareth. That's what they all say. And then Slasher, if you think about it, the first half of the original Child's Play is mostly focused on revenge because Charles Lee Ray wants to get revenge on those he blamed for his death.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then in a lot of
But
those
Chucky is
Chucky
also just an
sequels,
evil
he's doing
bastard.
whatever. Well, his other motivation is trying to get back into a real body. Takes
And
like
that
6
tracks through all of
movies
them.
for him. Yeah, but then by what, movie 5, he's like, I actually like being a doll.
No, so funnily enough, you say that. That does not happen until Seed of Chucky.
Isn't that 5?
That is oh yeah, it is. Because Bride is
Nailed it.
4. But that is also the last minute plot twist of 5.
Yes.
And then in 6, it's just I'm just gonna fuck with people. And then in
Meanwhile,
7, he's all of the Chuckies.
we are all Chucky. Meanwhile, this Jared Padalecki asshole is trespassing on this guy's property.
What an asshole.
Prick. Trent's really the hero of the movie, if you're
I
paying
love
more
how she
attention.
just leaves with him. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's mildly nicer than this guy that I came here with.
And he's also hot, so why not? And yeah, it is a leap you have to go with where it's like, yeah, girl, I don't know if you should just be going off with a stranger in the middle of the woods. It's probably not smart.
I really like Danielle Panabaker. I wish she'd been in more of these. Instead,
I
she
do
got
too.
stuck on the Flash for 9 years.
Yeah.
As maybe
What
she
is
is, maybe she
this?
isn't Killer Frost.
This isn't the first of her horror movies, right? There's something that predates this.
Um, I feel like there is. Hold on.
Like she's in Piranha, or Piranha 2. I just don't remember if that predates this or not. But there's another one I know I'm blanking on.
No, this is her first one. But then she goes. It's crazy. She goes back to back. This, then the Crazies, then the Ward.
The Crazies, that's it. Okay.
Girls Against Boys. I have not seen. And then Piranha 3DD.
Yeah, which I've never seen.
Uh, I've seen it. It's not as good as the first one, but I had a good time.
Is Piranha on our wheel for originals and
Oh, it
remakes?
should be. That would be so weird too because it's directed by um oh, come on, brain work. Damn it.
Jareth said that she's also in Mr. Brooks. I don't know
I
what
don't
that
know what
is,
that
but
is.
cool.
Is that a
The
horror
first
film?
thing I don't know. The first thing
Okay,
I see Danielle Panabaker in is Sky High.
same.
I see that when I'm a kid, and
It's a
then
great
years
movie.
later, I see her in this.
Got to get Noah to watch it.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
But that is directed by Alexander Aja, who directed the Hills Have Eyes remake, which is great,
Which I haven't seen.
and a French film called High Tension, which is
Oh,
I remember being pretty good.
is The Hills Have Eyes on our list? I think it is.
I think it is because I like that remake a lot.
Do you like it even more than The Crazies?
Yeah, it's probably better than the Crazies. But
Which,
that's a movie where it's kind of a one for one remake, but they're allowed to go places that Craven just wasn't in the 70s.
mm.
Oh, The Hills Have Eyes is not on our list. I am changing it.
Woo. Fright Night's on there, right? We talked about that the other day.
It is not.
No, okay, that's a couple to add.
We just added three more movies. God damn it!
Yay! And this guy fucked a mannequin. That's interesting.
I love how just like sleazy and gross this guy is.
He's like right out of part 5.
Yeah.
That's what they're going for.
Also, is this the only Jason movie where we don't get a look, like a proper look at his face?
No, we do. It's just very brief, and then of
But I mean,
course
like a
in
proper like, because in all of the other
Jason,
ones they pause for a minute, and let you see his face, except for Jason Goes
it,
to Hell,
yeah, we never get him unmasked in that one.
which they do in the game, and it's a really cool idea. I don't know if you've seen
Now
that.
oh yeah, it looks great. Um, I do remember at the time fans were like, "Oh, that's how he gets the hockey mask in this. That's so lame." And I agree,
Is
he
it
could
any
have done
worse
something
than
more
how it
clever,
gets
but
in
also
the original?
it's tied to Shelley.
Um,
It's something.
Apparently, it's a psychological thriller starring Kevin Costner.
Oh, interesting.
Never heard of it.
I'll look into that.
Now I want to watch
Now,
Sky High. Damn it!
have you seen the deleted scene, the original version of that kill?
I
Because
don't
I
think
think
so.
I'd prefer it. So I think that was a solid kill. Like the neck slice, the blood spraying out looked pretty good. The original version they shot, that I guess didn't test well for some reason. Uh, the guy is stumbling around. He looks at that mannequin he fucked, and then he finds the hockey mask. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't played hockey in a while." He like puts the mask on, looks at it in the mirror, then in the reflection sees Jason standing behind him. Turns around, Jason grabs the top of his head, cuts his head off, decapitating him instantly, and is just holding his head with the hockey mask. Then takes the mask off and puts it on himself. It's very over the top.
Probably a little bit better because it is a little awkward where he's like, what's this over here? Oh, it's the hockey mask.
Well, it's I think the logic of the scene is well the bag just came off and it's like yeah, just put it back on.
Yeah.
It's like I don't
Jason's like,
know, like
oh,
it's
mask
fine.
cooler.
Like both versions I think are fine, but I do
Do
prefer
you
the other
know
one.
about the alternate version of this kill?
Yes.
I'm really glad they didn't go with it because if I had to sit there and watch him drown her to death,
Yeah, well this is another obligatory topless scene.
yeah,
And yeah, the original version of this kill is she's like stranded in the middle of this lake
he just
alone. And
somehow ends up everywhere she goes until she gets tired and drowns.
no, it's he's standing there with the bow and arrow. And
Yeah,
he's
but
just
then she
watching her.
swims away, and everywhere that she swims to, he's standing there. If I recall,
Okay, I mean, now this footage I don't think has ever been released. I
I
think
don't
we've
even
just
know if they
heard about it.
shot it. This was just like an alternate idea. I could be
Right.
wrong,
I think that's what was in the
but
script.
it
So
sounds like
if
it would have taken forever.
maybe it also sounds like maybe they were gonna more explicitly do the teleporting thing originally, which I'm kind
Yeah,
of glad they don't do. I don't know. I think that could be a really scary scene of somebody just like of just being trapped in the middle of like somebody's just watching you and then just slowly drown. Like I think that can work. I just prefer what they went with
yeah. That
because
is
it's so funny.
disgusting.
That is disgusting and I hate it. I, that's Chewy. You don't need to be that much of a tryhard for attention and like I'm the lovable weird guy. No, don't do that. Don't drink beer out of a
I do
shoe.
like the idea of a bow. I wish they had it for more than just this obligatory kill.
Yeah. Again, it's hunter survivalist Jason, which a lot of people really hate, but I love. This is such a great surprise death.
This makes me wince every time.
Hmm. And also the bow and
Move out of
arrow,
the
it's
way.
just hey, we got the obligatory Jaws shot where we're
Yeah.
under looking up at her.
That's what I'm talking about. Ooh,
Oof. No, this is an effective scene. But the bow and arrow, like, it's an homage to the first movie. But those kills are off screen by
I would
Pamela,
have
obviously.
paid top dollar for them to have just Jared Padalecki or somebody come out in Indian garb and make those noises.
That would have dated this movie a lot faster.
Yeah.
But I like Jason with the bow and arrow. A lot of people hate it, and it's that campground setting. Like, no, this he probably practiced archery when he was a kid. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's a thing he can do, I think. He's just standing there menacingly.
Interestingly. Robert, I think she needs a high hide right about now.
Yep. Always got to remember to pack one of those.
I like that this movie went to the Sam Raimi school of day to night. Yeah, it was like broad daylight 2 seconds
Yep.
ago. It's night now because the scene needs it.
It's fine. It's sunset. We're not
That's
like
no,
pitch black
that's not
dark.
even a criticism. I think it's funny.
Yeah, and with Danielle Panabaker, it's like I do think she could be more fleshed out and interesting, but she's also our fake out final girl, so I think it's fine.
Yeah.
We get all
I
we
wish
need
her
with her.
death was edited a little bit more. I missed it in the theater when I first saw it. It's so quick.
It's very quick, but I've always thought it was great.
Also interesting that this is a the final couple is the siblings.
Yeah, that's kind of unique. I really like that. I wonder if they would have brought them back in a sequel. I don't know. And this is one of my favorite kills just because it's so funny.
It's so
Th-
good.
This is the gratuitous stuff that works for me because it has that cheeky sense of humor to it. And it's like, yep, that's what this franchise is, all in one shot.
Yeah.
I'm not a prude. I don't mind nudity in my movies every now and then.
And, you know, it instantly hides the body.
Mission accomplished. Jason wins.
No, because you know
Do you?
how there's that like growing thing where like younger people don't like sex in their movies.
Yep.
Imagine
It's a little
showing them
weird.
this movie.
Especially the extended cut. Oh, God, they'd panic.
No, it is clearly nighttime in these shots.
Now it's nighttime here. It's a 10 p.m. 2 in the morning. It's somewhere in
Yeah, it's
that.
somewhere.
It's like, really? You're just gonna investigate with this guy in the middle of the dark? You don't really know? Okay. And when I defend this movie, I hope it's clear. I'm not saying this is high art. I don't think this is Shakespeare or nothing.
No, this is
Sometimes
Shakespeare.
this is
Fuck you.
this is just what I come to this franchise for. It just kind of has everything.
Oh, Robert, you're gonna laugh at me by the way. I don't know if you noticed, but I accidentally scheduled 2 Last of Us videos last Monday, and it was ass backwards. So part 2 came out before part 1. I was like, fuck.
I think I did notice, but I was just like, oh, that's weird that I didn't think much of it. Clay, that's his name, Bill Clay.
I told you his name was
The
Clay.
subtitles
I actually
were
remembered
interesting.
his name.
What's Daniel Panabaker's name?
Uh, uh, Killer Frost?
Close. Her name is Jenna.
Oh, yeah,
This
because Travis was like, Jenna, what are you doing? Or
okay.
Trent.
I didn't remember if anyone said her name in this. She's just Danielle Panabaker to me. This scene is weird because with absolutely no context, they just see this guy way out in the distance and they're like, "Oh my god, we gotta hide."
I mean, they are
I mean,
trespassing.
it's the right choice. That's true. I don't know. This is a scene I think you could have drawn out a bit, made more suspenseful. It's very abrupt. Like, oh god, like
Well, no, but you're going to get the suspense in a minute because he's going to start throwing the boats and shit.
yeah, that's true. And oh my god, her friend is dead. That's sad.
But no, I think Danielle Panabaker had like a promising horror career, and then she joined The Flash and just
Yeah.
didn't have time to do anything else.
I mean, it's a steady job, you know. Good for her. I get why she's stuck with it.
Now, my question is, why is there still running electricity out here?
Yes, he's got a couple generators. It's fine. I hate canoes. Jason mad. How do you feel about Jason with the jacket? Because we first get that in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah. He's kind of got a jacket in Jason X before he
Yeah, I
becomes
can't
Uber
tell.
Jason.
I can't tell what he's wearing in that just because it's so tattered and
Yeah.
worn.
No, this would make a top 4 Jason designs for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's about where I'd put it.
Which really sucks that like the only promotional artwork they released for this is that one image that I'm using.
Well, yeah. I don't. I actually like this poster. Just the minimalism of it. It's just him standing there menacingly.
Uh,
Uh,
I like that one. I think I like the other one better, where it's just the hockey mask. I don't know if they have that on
yeah,
there.
that
Yeah,
is the reversible cover
I
one.
like that
It's a
minimalism
fine poster.
a lot more. Where it's just like, you know what this is. Here's the hockey mask.
Yep. And then I pulled out a couple more context because we talked about this during our Blu-ray collection video. You know, of course, a lot of these, you know, early Blu-ray releases for the first time with this set all had, you know, this original artwork on the discs, the reversible cover and stuff. And then you get to the later New Line movies, like Freddy versus Jason, where it's just the original Blu-ray disc. It's just like, fuck it.
Yeah, we're not doing a new
I brought
transfer. We're not going to print a new disc.
Yeah, I couldn't show it on camera because I'm watching the movie, obviously, but the remake's the same way, where it's
Yeah.
clearly just the old Blu-ray disc artwork.
I'm glad
Yeah, if
this
it
got
ain't
a new
broke, don't
transfer
fix
because
it.
this looks really good so far.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask how you think the 4K, because some of these scenes do get pretty dark. It can be hard to tell what's going on, but hopefully the Blu-ray, hopefully the 4K didn't make it worse.
Yeah, no, not so far. I think it's more of an issue with the original just because you can't really do much.
Yeah, because that was all shot at night. Yeah, you're right, Jareth. This movie is just an adaptation of Hamlet. A loose one, but it's there.
I believe it.
And yeah, he's got the system with the lights and the bells. He's got a security system. He's a smart guy. He's got some ingenuity. I like that.
What is he doing with the corpses?
And he's taking it to the corpse room. This Jason also has some hair, which is an homage to part two, which isn't my favorite look, but you don't see it much. They don't really draw a lot of attention to it, so I think it's fine.
Well, we're inconsistent with that because part 9 has some hair.
Yeah.
Part 10 just has a full head of hair. They didn't care. And I like the part 10 look a lot, but
Oh, that I think is an underrated Jason, because everyone goes to part seven, and rightfully so, with like the skull and the bones and the chain around the
yeah,
neck. Like it's the best one. A lot of that look is in Jason X.
it
And he
just
looks great.
cracks me up that he's no longer rotting and has like a full head of hair.
Yeah. Well, it's because David Cronenberg explains that he regenerates. That's his
Uh,
superpower. That's canon. Aw, see, this Jason's just sad. He just misses his mom. I like this scene of
talk
him
about mommy
sharpening.
issues.
Oh yeah, arguably. I like the scene of him sharpening his machete. It's something you'd never see, but just some good.
Now we
And
need
now
Freddy
he's
vs.
mentioning.
Jason 2 with remake Jason and remake Freddy.
Oh god, he kills Jackie Earle Haley for Freddy in the opening scene, and then it's just a Jason movie for the rest of it.
Yeah. Just as he has the plush of this and has the strands of hair.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, if you guys don't remember, go back and watch Jason X. It's clearly just Kane Hodder's hair. Like, they didn't put a prosthetic on him or anything.
Mm.
But no, I agree with you. That is an underrated Jason look.
Yeah,
And I like Uber Jason a lot. I
it's
know he
something.
looks like something from Power Rangers, but I don't care. I like Power Rangers.
And like I said, I like this idea with the locket. They make that pretty clear visually that she looks like his mom.
Yeah.
Again, it's a nice homage to part two. Also, as much as I love part four, that is one of the clunkier moments of that movie is when Tommy Jarvis at the end is like, I know what I must do. I must make myself look like young Jason to confuse him. And it works. Smart kid.
It's not hard to outsmart Jason.
Also, what I like about this movie splitting these characters up is it does feel like there's more momentum building, having some of them already see Jason and know what's going on. It's not like the first movie and many of the sequels where the first two-thirds are just characters walking around who don't know that a killer's after them. This movie does get ahead of that.
Yeah, kind of. But then also you have that with most of the cast. It's just the two that find out, and the rest of them don't believe
Yeah,
them until it's too late.
but we also now have this Whitney character who's trapped and trying to escape. We got
That's
other things
true.
going on. And this is all cut, by the way. This is not in the theatrical version. Uh,
Oh, okay.
she's gonna escape and then get captured again by Jason, and that was all cut from the theatrical, which some people
Then it's
prefer.
been so long since I've seen that because to me that's just part of the movie.
Mhm. And some people prefer that cut because they're like, it's extraneous. It doesn't add anything. I think it gives more for her to do.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. You know, because part of why, not I guess part of why, but that infamous sex scene is a lot longer because in this cut she's gonna run up and try to get their attention, and then Jason's gonna grab her, and she doesn't make it in time, and in the theatrical cut that's all gone. That's part of why that sex scene's a lot shorter. And yeah, and I guess this is very Texas Chainsaw Massacre ish, which I don't mind because I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just this weird location this character's stuck in, trying to get out. Whenever we get that Friday reboot off the ground, though, I hope Derek Mears isn't too old, because I'd love to see him back. I think he's a great Jason.
Yeah.
Did you like that really low angle shot of Brie dancing? Did you find it
Does that make me a
artistic?
pervert if I say I did like it?
She is great. She definitely stands out a lot more than other blonde lady who died in the lake. That couple, that's part of what I like about this movie is you always have to have the couple extra characters who are just there, and we kill them off pretty quickly, so it's fine.
What Cabin in the Woods is making fun of with the girl and the wolf, right?
Yes. Oh, totally. So what she's gonna do here, a little shitty. This isn't cool. Don't seduce a guy into drinking a flaming shot, burning his
Yeah,
mouth. That's not cool. Friends don't do that. You tease, you know what you're doing. Bree or whatever your name is. Ew. This is so contrived, but I love it. This kicks off the broken stool subplot.
yeah.
That's gonna be the next 5 minutes of this movie.
I just love that this guy invited people over to his house and it's just like, don't do anything. Don't
Don't
breathe.
touch
Don't
anything.
touch anything.
Don't look anything.
Also, are you going to trust a guy that's been drinking to work on this thing?
Right.
At this point, I'm not sure what you do with the franchise. It's been long enough. Just give me a back to basics Friday.
Yeah, and if you want to twist on it, just set it during winter. Make it a winter camp movie. That's something different. More Jason in the snow.
Like, let's not pretend that they've done everything you can do with a masked serial killer at a camp. Come on.
Yeah. And look, it's a low stakes franchise. We just want to see Jason kill people in interesting ways.
Yeah,
It's fine.
just give it to the Terrifier guy.
Yeah,
Give it to
Jane
Flanagan. I want to
Leon,
see what Flanagan does
give
with
it to Flynn.
this.
He would dive into Jason's trauma,
Sure.
but he could do it well.
I don't know if you know this, but in the Freddy vs. Jason comics, Jason gets like smart because of the Necromonicon. It's really weird.
Oh,
Like they have him do the finger wag thing when somebody tries to get one up on him, and it's just I don't like it.
oh, weird. Jareth said a movie set in the early 2000s would be cool since we didn't really get that at the time. I moved at Freddy versus Jason. That's
Yeah,
stuff for me.
you got Freddy vs. Jason for the early 2000s. You got this for the late 2000s. Honestly,
Yeah,
I'd say make it a period piece. Make it set in the 80s.
yeah, at this point. Oh my god, we're at the stupendous scene.
And here's Robert's favorite scene of the movie.
I will neither confirm nor deny. Although I don't know if I've ever seen the theatrical version of this because I
I
know it's
have,
cut
but I
down a
don't
lot, but
remember.
that there's well, I heard it was very awkward for you.
Yeah, it was. For anybody who doesn't know, I was not quite. I don't think I was quite old enough at the time. I don't remember the situation, but my grandma took me to see this in the theater because I didn't realize there's gonna be so much sex. That was
In a
very
Friday the
awkward.
13th movie? No. That's a first.
Or I guess I should say this feels more sleazy than some of the later movies sex scenes can.
Not part 5.
I said later.
Now, which movie would you rather watch with her? This or Friday 5?
Uh, Probably 5 because I could just like she wouldn't understand what was happening in some of that scene, some of the scenes.
Alright, this scene. Now, this is contrived. Dude, don't. Just go to another room. Don't do that in the living room. What are you doing? Some people don't like this what's his name? This Wade guy. I think it's fun. I don't get why people don't like him.
Fine.
He has that line earlier where that character's just like, "Oh, like do you rap or something?" It's like, "Oh, you're going to profile me just cuz I'm black that I'm rapping." Like, "Oh, well
The
what do you
problem
do?"
might be
Rap.
there to be fair. Is that seems to be his only joke. Because he also does that when he's asked to pump gas.
But he's going to try to save his boy Chewie. It's
And
fine.
here we are. So juicy, dude.
It's so juicy, dude. God, and he hated the perfect nipple placement. And he hated saying those lines, by the way. He was like, oh god, I don't want to say this.
I wonder
I
if
should
anybody just
win
goes
this.
up to him and says that.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened. Especially if he goes to cons and stuff.
This is where I'm confused. Like, are these two dating? Because she doesn't seem to care that he's sleeping with someone else.
Oh, well, okay, they are dating, but to be fair, she now knows that there's a killer after her, so she's not thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
is funny
Robert, there's
that
a
when
guy out there.
when this came out, it was criticized for the sex scene. People said, "Ah, it's gratuitous, it's too much," and then the extended one's like twice as long. Also, I'm like,
It's
it's a
still
Friday the
going.
13th movie. Like, shut up.
I mean, yeah. It's stupendous.
And
Jason's
Jason's
like, I
like,
must
oh.
kill. I do appreciate that even though they basically this one just carries the machete, he still gets to be creative. Because that's what I like
We
about
still get
Jason over
murdered.
Michael. Michael's just like, I'm gonna stab someone. I'm gonna go stab
Yeah,
someone else. Jason's like, here's this fucking like weed eater. I'm gonna
the weed
whack
whack.
somebody with this. Here's a fucking pair of hedge clippers. I'm gonna shove somebody in the eye. Oh, Jared says he was
Uh,
at Spooky Empire and it's cool about it now.
that's fun.
That's
And
good.
I'm with you, Jareth. I also like part 5.
I have come around on it.
Weird. That's another one that for a long time was like one of the black sheep entries of the series that fans have kind of reclaimed in recent years.
Well, it's just
And again,
funny how all these franchises kept trying like movies and movies in. What if we did it without the character that people are there for? Friday
Yeah, but
tries
we
it
got
twice. It's insane.
yeah. Friday the 13th is the only franchise I can think of where you have not one but two movies with final in the title. And
And
not
neither one
one,
of them is
but
the
two
front.
movies with new in the title. Neither of which
Wait, the New
continued.
Blood. What's the other new one?
A New Beginning. That's 5.
Oh yeah,
Both of which had new protagonists that didn't stick around. Or new
I
status
always
quos that didn't stick around, I should say.
I always forget about 5's subtitle.
Oh yeah. I like we talked over it, but I like the gag with Chewie when he has the hockey
This is a
stick and
great
he's
kill.
like, "Let's go with your outfit."
Yeah,
This kill's brutal. This one's like, this one makes you squirm. That's not a fun way to go.
and I like the way this is lit. Uh, like with Jason.
Yeah. Well, it's got
No,
like
Chewie
I
deserved
can't.
better.
Yeah. Again, the kills. Most of these kills aren't amazing or anything. Like they're not the best from this franchise. But this is also a franchise with a lot of lame kills, especially in the later sequels when they were just cut down so much by the MPAA. Like, so this still fares better than a lot of them in my
Comparing it
opinion.
to the first 4, where you're still ground by that, he's just a dude.
Mhm.
Most of these are better than some of the first 4.
Yeah, 4 has a lot of great ones, and 2 has a few standouts.
This movie needed a hey Ted, where the hell's the corkscrew? You
Yeah.
know, that is one thing you got to give this remake for. There are not many, if any, like member berries. There's no repeated lines or like.
It's just, yeah, it's a Friday movie, so he has the hockey mask. And the sex scene's still going. So yeah, this is all cut out from the theatrical version.
Do you ever feel like they just kept rolling just because the director was like, "This is hot"?
I appreciate the method acting.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you appreciate something.
Oh god.
Yeah, God, I can't believe it's been that
Only
long since I've seen the theatrical cut. Then, because I like this is how I remember the movie.
Jason just wants a friend.
Jason
Stupendous.
just wants his mom.
He said the thing. He said stupendous again. Meanwhile, Jared Padalecki's trespassing again. Get him out of here. This is Trent's like, what have you been fucking this guy? As he was just cheating on her. So good. You probably missed it though, but when Bree, the other girl, comes down the stairs and is wearing his shirt, she gives this look to Danielle Parrott to make her like, yeah, yeah, I did that. I'm fucking your boyfriend. And it's like, girl, we do not have time for that right now.
Do not have time for you.
Yeah. Jarrett, I don't know if you read this. Jarrett said this came out way before the whole remember that thing we do now, which is funny because I remember some reviews of this when it came out. That was part of the negative stuff I was hearing was like, remember the hockey mask? It's like, God, this movie won't stop referencing the old ones. It's like, it's a Jason movie.
But
That's
also, it's not before we started doing the whole remember thing. It's just before people started complaining about it.
right.
Ghostbusters
Well,
2 came out in the late 80s, early 90s. That entire
yeah.
movie is a member berry. Just nobody complains about it because it came out 40
Well,
years ago.
yes and no. I mean, that movie was considered a disappointment when it came out, and but that was different. But that was the reputation of like most sequels was, oh, they're lazy. They're just the first movie again. That's different. There's more to the member berry thing than just that.
But nobody complains now. I feel like that
Well,
movie's
they
gotten a little.
selectively complain.
They selectively complain. But my point is, we've always done that. Just people
Right.
complain about it.
And I also think some movies do it more excessively than
They do,
others.
But the problem
and
is
it
that I
can't be
can no longer take that as valid criticism when the slightest thing gets complained about as, well, that's just a member berry because they can't carry a script.
there are people who feel very just who come off anti-sequel, anti-franchise, or it's like, we have to make this again. It's like, I don't know. You're not judging the thing on its own terms. But I think Alien Romulus is the perfect example of a movie where I am with it for most of it. Because, yeah, it has the atmosphere of Alien and it has, the alien. So, of course, it has the face huggers and all that stuff. But it does bother me when they repeat a couple of lines and
My
bring back a
problem with
character they really shouldn't
so
have.
the character, okay, that is fair. My issue with the character is mostly just that it's bad CGI. Um, I don't care that it's the same android. And then my problem with the lines, or at least the only one that I can remember, isn't that the line is there; it's that it's delivered badly.
It's delivered badly, but also the not Ash android gets the same line that Ash had in the first one of "I won't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies." It's like you
But
don't
to
need
be
to say that
fair,
again.
he's under the same program.
No, that doesn't work for me. Sorry, that there are member berries like that I find distracted. Like you didn't need to do.
Yeah, that's
That was
fair.
unnecessary. But
This is probably the lamest kill in the movie. It's not bad. It's just he threw an axe at him.
I it's like ooh, good shot.
Yeah.
No, the
Oof.
part of the kill I like though is when he flips him over and he has him just
That's true.
suffering there to draw people out, which of course doesn't work, but still, that's the sadistic side of it that sticks with me. And I will say my problem with the Trent death, it is better in this version, but that character is so annoying and over the top
I really
where
wish
it's
he'd
like,
had a
ah,
more over the top sufferable.
yes. It's like this character's annoying, but that's because you're gonna love it. That's because you're gonna cheer when he dies. He probably shouldn't be the last character to die. Like we do drag that out more than we should,
Robert, they
and
set
his
a
death is not
trap.
as awesome as it could be. Oh my god, they're learning. The raptor set a trap. But yeah, this is sadistic and fucked up. Oh, a quick death
Oof.
would be nice. Oh, like that's an alright kill.
Now I do remember. I take back some of what I said. The blonde here, I believe, is going to have a death identical to part 4 or 3, because she's
Hmm.
going to be like in a towel or something and get an axe to the chest.
No.
No.
Yeah, her death isn't great. It's one of the weaker ones, but it is a death you can do in the video game. That's another thing they pulled from this movie. So we'll see what you think of it when we get there. But like we were saying with
No,
Trent,
she's in a shirt. Uh, but no, there's a character in 4 that dies extremely similar to the way she's going to die, if I remember correctly.
well, 4 does have the girl in the towel who gets the axe to the chest.
Okay.
This is different. Unless you're thinking of like the shower scene because she's going to be in the bathroom, but
So
we shall see.
yeah, I'd imagine if one of these movies came out now, but like with Terrifier-esque kills.
Oh my god. Come on, Hollywood.
Give me what I want.
I like the build up. There is a jump scare here I like with the shower curtain. Heh.
How did he get up here?
He crawled through the window.
Oh, true. I like that like menace look in his eye.
Yeah, I like that you can see his eye, which we don't always do in the movies.
Okay, no, you're right.
Yeah, it's the antler kill, which again isn't great. It is one of the
Is that
weaker
a
kills in
reference
this
to
movie.
Silent Night, Deadly Night?
It could be. It's not done as well as that, but I was just wondering
You
if
know
that's
what
a
I'm thinking of? I don't
reference.
remember which movie it is, but there is a movie that has a kill similar to that, but it is an axe. But he has like her pinned to the door with the axe, so that when they open the
Oh,
door,
I mean, we just saw Bill in the first movie where he has like the arrows in him and he's stuck to the door.
no, this is one of the Jason movies. It might be that. ah, God,
I don't remember it
brain
off the
no
top of my
work.
head. But what is fun, well, what I was saying earlier, what is fun about her kill is they did put that in the games where you have the
Yeah,
antlers that you can stick people on. So I appreciate that they did pull some stuff from this movie.
no, that was kind of a lame death. She deserved a stupendous death.
Yeah, in the movie. I agree. Other blonde girl did get the better death,
That's true.
the more memorable one. And yeah, with Trent again, his death is better in this version. It is a little more drawn out and gory, but it's still not as creative and over the top as you want to be. I love this kill
That's a great one.
with the arrow. That is such a cool shot of the camera going from outside and just panning past the wall inside. The arrow through the eye, he's got the eyeball on it, and like that kill is awesome. He's got a gun. Let's go.
Doing everything.
Do you think a better death for her would have been if we had Trent shoot her on accident?
That would have been more funny. You know what? She should have been the window kill. There's no broken windows in this movie.
It's funny you say that.
Why do you?
We do homage it.
Oh, okay.
So when is the last time you watched this movie? Because obviously you've been sitting on the 4K. You've been saving
Probably
it
when
for
I
this.
bought that box set.
Oh, okay, so like it's been a while.
Yeah. And even then, that one wasn't a high priority because I looked at that disc. I was like, yeah, this is the same Blu-ray I've owned for years.
Yep. Keep watching. Yay!
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
His
That's how I would
scream
have.
here is great.
That's how I would have killed her.
Yeah, I agree. It's still a good moment.
No, his scream is great. I love when
And
the
the
car
run.
is damaged and then they just act like they can't drive it anymore. That body did not destroy the engine or any of the motor.
Nah. Oh, that's a good visual. This guy's body dumped in the pool
Yeah,
or the hot tub or whatever that is.
Robert, I think I might.
The
I'm
blood.
starting to think that this might be a good motion picture.
I like this motion picture. It also was at the time kind of a last gasp, of these like gory R-rated slashers, which we just stopped making for a while.
Didn't
And
come
they
back
they they
until Halloween 2018.
that was the big one.
Yeah, so the last time that I rated this movie, I lied. The last time I rated this movie was October of 2023.
What did you rate it?
3.5, but I'm feeling a 4 star.
That it's really funny that at that time you rated this lower than the original.
I know.
You do not agree with
I
past
do
two
not
on that.
agree with myself. Come on, what are you showing me here?
This scene is weird.
Yeah, I've
This
never understood
creepy
what was
guy.
going on here. Like, is he helping Jason? Is he just driving away in a panic?
It would have helped if we set this guy up earlier. I don't know. You know what this movie's missing? It needs a crazy Ralph. The
Hmm.
closest you get is that old lady who's like, Jason, he wants to be left alone. Like that's the closest you get. We need a real crazy Ralph. This remake could use that. And again, his death here is okay. It is better in this version. It is more drawn out, but it's just not creative enough. This gag's kind of fun though. I will admit.
Yeah.
He likes that machete. Yeah, this is a lot longer than it is in the theatrical cut. It's just stuck to the rebar. Like that's pretty good. Like that's all right.
Robert, I'm gonna change my ranking, and I'm gonna stick to the rating that I gave them based on the last rating. So my list is gonna be slightly different when we do our lists.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's weird having the Evil Dead remake over like the Blob, or even Let Me In. I think those are better movies. Although I think
Well,
Dracula's too high. Mm.
oh, so your ranking's probably gonna be now a bit different from mine. Like the Let Me In remake is very good. I still prefer Evil Dead 2013
Evil Dead 2013 is
personally.
probably more watchable, but I think as a film,
Yeah.
Let Me In is probably better.
Yeah, like it's hard because Let Me In's really good. It's also like a shot for shot remake. So I don't want to give it too much credit, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you did what you did really well.
But you're also stuck with that when you're adapting a book.
That's fair. But also like the way that movie is shot in certain sequences are like storyboarded, the
Mm.
same way. Left the right one it is. So not saying that makes it bad. I do like that movie a lot.
Yeah. Well, and we were on opposite sides where I prefer the American version. Just
That's true.
I have to be in the mood for foreign films.
That's totally fair.
Ow,
Oh my god. You injured yourself on camera.
I did. Br-
Finally there.
Friggin' neck. Oh my!
The coolest kill of this episode goes to John, who snapped his neck live on camera.
I went full
Thanks for
Dark Knight
watching, everyone.
Returns Joker.
See you in hell. But like I said, it is a cool riff on those later movies with the final couple, except in this case, it's a brother and sister. And we have our fake out final girl in a really shocking death. Like all those choices work for me.
Yeah.
Not that this is a Mary Shelley's Frankenstein brother sister situation.
Brother and sister, no more.
Thanks,
Oh,
movie.
I can't believe that made it past anyone.
It's a weird movie.
I love that movie, but like, good lord.
Yeah, we're obviously not including that on our remake list, but like I don't know
Oh
where I'd
yeah,
put that. It was a different
yeah,
thing.
because we
It
didn't
wasn't part
cover
of the
that.
series.
I don't
Um
know, cause like
it's definitely better than Nightmare on Elm Street. It's above that one.
I'd probably put it right under Horror of Dracula, or right above it,
It's in the middle
and then
somewhere.
the '90s Dracula would be really low for me. That is not my favorite Dracula adaptation.
I'm gonna put that a lot higher. And I like I like the Night of Living Dead remake, but that's still at the
That's
bottom,
kind of
just above
lower on the
Nightmare.
tier just by default because everything else is better.
Right. But these actors are selling the scene. I like how tense it is. And Jason's coming.
No, there's exception to this.
He's coming to a decision.
He's been on the roof the whole time. The very last scene is stupid. Why stay there? They're
Oh,
recuperating.
we'll get to it.
No, that is kind of a piss poor trying to like recreate the original jump scare.
Yeah. Jason's like, wait, I gotta get my machete. Okay, ready to go. Got 3 more. Pretty good.
We did get our Derek Mears versus Kane Hodder showdown though.
Yeah. And the Hatchet movies.
Yeah. Which you've got to rewatch what 2 because of the
Yeah.
subtitles.
Because we had a nightmare of a watch party on that. Because
Yeah.
Amazon sucks. Yeah.
Damn you, Amazon.
As good as Danielle Harris is in those sequels, it is kind of a bummer that she doesn't have like that iconic character to be associated with. Like, I guess Jamie in Halloween, and oh my god, Daniel Panabaker's dead.
Yep. She's fine. Just take her hand. Oh, okay.
She's fine. And she was just stabbed in the heart. It's also not a cheat. That's part of why I think it works. Is like we see Jason running after them. Like they know he's there. She was just took too long getting out. But I like the
You know what?
quickness
That
of it.
does play better. I don't. Maybe it's just I missed it the first time because I was paying attention.
That scene, it also might be a couple seconds longer in this version. It might have been quicker in the theatrical cut.
I remember when we got to this, I was like, wait a minute. There was 3 of them. Where'd the other one go?
This was getting out of hand. Now there are just 2 of them. This is kind of random. I like this bus set that's on its side.
Yeah.
Is this a reach? Is this an homage to the shot in part 6 when the RV is tipped over and Jason's standing on top of it? Am I reaching?
Yes, but not entirely. If we had a clear shot of him standing on it, I would be with you.
And here we get our fake out Clay kill because he got his head smashed pretty good, but he'll be back.
No, I like that this Jason is leaner because we typically go for a bulkier Jason.
Mhm.
And by typically, I just mean the Kane Hodder movies where he's the fucking tank.
Right. Well, and you know, this movie obviously shows him with the machete a lot, which is his known to be his signature weapon at this point. It's really not in the older movies.
What is weird
It's
too because I can't figure out where that comes from. Because like he has it in Freddy versus Jason just because, but he
Mhm.
doesn't carry it around in any of the old movies.
He has a bunch of stuff. He probably first uses it the most regularly in part 6.
Even then,
Right?
he really only has it during that paintball scene.
Well, that's where he gets it. Because he kills the one guy, that's how he gets the machete, and then he decapitates 3 of them.
Yeah, but I don't think he carries it around.
There's shots of him holding it.
Okay.
I can picture one. But
No,
he also
sorry,
uses other weapons too.
it's not just Freddy vs. Jason. He has it in. You know what? That might be a new
Jason
line
Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell, he has it.
because he has it in
And in
Jason X too. Because it has one of the best lines in the movie. Don't worry, guys. He just wanted his machete back.
It's the best monologue in that movie. It's a good monologue.
If only Noah were here. Hey, Noah.
But clearly, that movie doesn't invent that. By the time we make Jason X, we're aware in the cultural zeitgeist that Jason uses a machete. That's his weapon. That's why that line's there.
Yeah.
That's just accepted by the fans. And
Well, it's just I wonder because it's almost like a snake eating its own tail, where the New Line movies really lean into that, but then they're also kind of the ones that cement it.
Yep. Oh my god.
It kind of just
Here we
feels
get
like,
our
well, Freddy has
that's
the glove. Jason needs something.
a specific weapon, right? Because it's but like the early Kane Otter movies, like parts 7 and 8, he's using all kinds of shit throughout them.
Yeah,
He does not have a consistent weapon. But we just talked over it, but we got our part 2 homage with Jason jumping through the
bursting through the
window.
window.
So you get broken glass there too.
Yeah, now it's a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah. Which is part of why I think the jump scare at the end doesn't work, just because it's a double beat. Like, no, you already did the Jason jumping out, jumping through something shot. Like, you don't need to do it again.
You can't do that.
And then, I was also thinking about, like, part 4 Jason, where Rob has a machete, the guy looking for a sister, which is then used by Tommy to kill Jason, but Jason himself never uses that machete in that movie.
Yeah.
And that's part 4.
So this is where I think the realistic take on this reboot kind of starts to crumble because he's gonna get his head put in a fucking wood chipper and then it's fine.
Well, it's I don't remember because this is another reshot sequence. It was different originally, but what's gonna happen is he's gonna get chained to the wood chipper, and that's gonna like snap his neck. Yeah, he takes a
Yeah,
lot of
but his
damage
head
here.
is gonna get hit in that wood chipper.
I don't think it does. I think you expect that, but I don't think the mask breaks or anything. I think it's just you hear like his neck snap, and then she stabs him with the machete.
This is a part 3 reference.
It is a part 3 reference. That's a good call. When they hang him. Yeah, this is the part of the movie where we decide, okay, Jason's just kind of invincible now. That's not what we were really doing before. Um, I don't know. You could have gone
Wait,
further with that in the sequel, I guess, where it goes full supernatural. There's the wood chipper, and that's part of my problem too. We're paying off the wood chipper here. Trent could have gone through that, right?
yeah.
This would have been a good kill for Trent. That's kind of a missed opportunity.
No, see?
Okay.
His head is getting chipped.
Yeah, we do briefly see it cutting up his scalp a little, so yeah, he
No,
takes a lot of damage here.
a
Oh,
great shot.
poor guy. Yeah, so the end of this movie, I can't tell if it's like, no, he's just really hard to kill, or if it just decides he's supernatural or a zombie. I don't
Or
know.
if this doesn't happen, like it isn't really happening.
Uh,
We'll never know because we didn't get the
the
sequel.
next day, all these people, these innocent young souls are dead now.
Oh, good. They were out having sex while that young boy drowned. This would have been a great place to have that monologue as
Yeah,
like a narration.
I would have preferred a quieter ending.
Yeah, just
And
like have the Pamela Voorhees speech over these shots of sets or whatever. You know, his name was Jason. Today was his birthday.
mhm. You know what my final shot would have been?
What's
When we
that?
see his mask hit the bottom of the lake in a minute, my final shot would have just been his hand in the water picking up the mask, and then cut to black.
Yeah,
Movie's over.
because this does
The
kind of
prop
play on that just expectation of, yeah, we know the slasher's not really
he's gonna come back.
dead.
Which, to be fair, most remakes in this era weren't doing. Most of these remakes would kill the villain for good and say, nope, they're dead. We're not doing a sequel. Move on to the next remake.
Yeah,
So this does stand out a little.
Is that true though? Does Leatherface die in Texas Chainsaw?
Okay, that's true. He doesn't die, but he also gets his arm cut off.
Yeah.
But that's true. He doesn't die.
Uh,
Um,
Halloween, he
no, you're
doesn't
right.
die.
It's more well, but Halloween 2, he's dead as fuck.
Well, Halloween
Yeah,
2 is its own weird.
yeah. So, okay, I should rephrase it. As far as like the big slashers go, yeah, like the icons that we tease them coming back, but then we usually don't make sequels. But like all these other remakes were just like one and dones.
Yeah.
Um, but no, that's true. And there's more than I realized. But and I think the problem with trying to recreate that jump scare of Jason coming out and grabbing her, it's just you can't top the first one where we see it coming. You can't recreate that surprise.
Yeah, I would
So
have
just
gone for
don't do
something
it.
more haunted because that doesn't fit the tone of the rest of this movie.
I don't think it does. No, the first time I watched this movie, I hated the ending. I loved it up until that point, and I was like, "Oh, how trite! Come on!"
I
Like
love that you
you
used the
on
word
this.
trite, you fucking
Oh yeah,
pretentious douchebag.
I was very upset by this ending bothered me. Now I'm kind of whatever about it, just because I know it's coming, and it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. Like I said, we should also do a tier list of Jason jump scares in this movie because we do a lot of them, and they can never top that first one.
No, they can't. All right, well, that has been our commentary on Friday the 13th, 2009. Thanks for hanging out,
Yeah,
everybody.